Hello, everybody. I'm Annie with, I guess with Well Read Magazine. And officially, I have a column there called Annie Asks. And the funniest thing is, that's a word I never can say correctly. So why you chose it, I want to kill you. No, I'm just kidding. But that is a word, and it's really because I'm from New York. We say axe, but if you don't know, this is the illustrious Mandy Haynes, who does everything for other people in literature and almost forgets about herself. So I'm promoting her book, two of her books today.
Aw.
I got them twice because one time I had a grab bag and I let a reviewer, a blogger, choose two books, and she was like, "Oh my god, I have to have Mandy Haynes books," and I was
Oh.
like, "I forgot they were in there." Like it was just like, "Oh my god!" So I got them again. They're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stories, and I'll tell you a little bit. Um, she's an author, and this is what I love: an author of. I threw a couple of your things together. An author of literary fiction with a southern drawl, uh as and I love the way you say this. Hell, we can't all be saints. So that's why it's easy for you to be my friend because I'm not a saint. Um, with a reputation for being one of the most authentic voices of modern days America's Deep South. And I'm sure that came along before you started Well Read Magazine. And now you're doing that for all of these other authors, bringing out their voices. So it's almost like you're like this big southern voice for the people. Like that's what it's a beautiful thing. And then it even went on to say things like this: everything southern. And then added, all wrapped up in a selfish assured and uber talented bow.
Aw.
Um and these are two of her books. They're both wonderful. I like this one better because I like this character a lot. I do like both of the books very, very much, obviously, because I think we became friends because I like kept talking to you after I interviewed you, like didn't give you a choice. I do that with authors I really like. Um, but she also has a book out called Oliver, and then uh, an anthology, work in progress, and she does a whole lot of other things. Well Read Magazine. I don't want to miss something. um Well Read Magazine, Three Dogs Right Press. Now the funniest thing about that is it's because she has three dogs.
You see two right there.
they're,
Mowing dirt.
they're watching, like, when is mama getting off TV? I always tell them I'm going on TV. But and I love to say triple dog dare you. I have a magnet on my fridge. I found one that said that. And then it fell. It was like ceramic. And I colored it in black because it was like one of the letters. Because I was like, this is the best magnet I ever saw.
Oh,
'Cause,
Annie, I might have to do a triple dog dare you for the magazine, like every couple of months.
oh, that's a good idea. Ooh, that's a good idea. Oh, I like that. That's big. Um, and she has a blog and then a newsletter, and she sponsors events, and look at this, you guys, she's inside her new barn dominium, which I thought she made up the word because that's how much, I guess you could say, I idolize you, like words that you say could be real new words, that exist in the world. And then I saw an article on barn dominiums. I'm like, oh, wait a second. So she didn't make up the word, but um not that it mattered, but it just showed how much I was like, oh, she just made up this word and I have to remember it because it's a great word. But it's everything in there, I'll let her tell you, is going to be made from barn stuff. So it's very, very cool. I'll tell you, we'll discuss where she moved to and fro. And but just so you know, Well Read Magazine that we're interviewing her for today, and also her YouTube channel and a podcast. Uh, You went dark. Well Read Magazine is an online magazine with a readership of about 8,000 people, and it rises each time. And readers, writers, book lovers everywhere love to read it. I read it in like not all at once because there's so much information in it. It's very exciting, and your to be read list grows, and they're often authors that you don't know yet. And that's like what's so exciting about it, because there's so much going on in the world with the book world where everybody knows who all of these other people are, but now we're learning about new people who are just as fabulous or even more fabulous. So it's a lot of fun. Um, so okay, I said the trip. See, I use index cards for everything, even writing. So Mandy, after all that I've said, I wanted to just ask you if you could tell us like what's been going on in your world lately. Since
um,
you run Well Read Magazine, and I was able to convince her to take time out of her day to let me interview her for this. So I'm very grateful.
well, thank you, Annie. You've been so cute. Am I echoing? Or is
What?
it just me? Is there an echo?
No.
It's the tin
It's
roof of
the
this
10.
barn.
Thank God it's not raining. But that
Um,
might have been very romantic.
it might start before we're done. You'll get to see what I'm talking about. I love it. I love
Oh,
it,
I
but it's
would too.
loud. Um, you've been so good to me. You're so good to so many authors, but you have been trying to get me to let you interview me again for a long time, but we've been so busy. So
I
thank you.
know.
Thank
I
you for
know.
the extra nudge and taking the time to do it. You're
Well,
very
I think you need to push it, you need to promote yourself. I know you are, but I know promoters forget to promote. And you're such a good writer. It would be so sad. I think people when they go to the bookstore and they're picking up a book of somebody that you just interviewed, they should also be picking up one of your books, if not,
aw.
well, you know what I'm saying? And I think that that's very, very important um, for all that you do. I don't want you to forget, like, you can't forget why I fell in love with you. So, because we met when COVID first started, and I did a whole bunch of interviews in one day, and my mother told me, "You looked horrible, like, halfway through each day." I was like, "I was so tired." But anyway, that's what she told me.
But you
Not
did a
great
great
job,
job.
not great job, it was, "You looked horrible." But,
Lots of mom for you.
yes, yes. Okay, so I am going to start with letting everyone know, which I say every time, I love Vanity Fair magazine. It has a lot of wonderful articles in it, like Well Read Magazine, and it has fashion in it and all of that. But one of the things that's in it every single month is where they ask a famous person the Proust questionnaire questions, but all 35. So it's very long, but it's very interesting because you're learning things about people that they've never mentioned before ever, because these questions are different. They've been around since like 1890, and I thought this would be a good idea because authors can use these questions to get to know their character. So I had a friend stuck on a character. I said, "Ask the character the Proust questions." And she said, "Oh my god, it worked." So that's why I
Aw.
think it's a really neat tool. So we only ask 10 questions, and you can say pass,
Okay.
but we ask 10. Okay. My first one is, which living person do you most admire?
Which living person do I most admire?
Yes.
Oh,
I,
wow.
I knew you'd be stuck.
Oh, that's hard. There's so many.
I
Oh,
know.
wow.
I mean, you can't talk to Mandy without and this person, and they're so great, and yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to pass. I hate to do it. I'm gonna have to
Okay,
pass because
okay.
if I say
I
one,
thought
I'm
so.
gonna
I
end up
thought
saying
so.
20.
I'm sorry. I understand. Uh, what or who is the greatest love of your life?
Aw. Well, that's easy. My son, he's the greatest.
Aw,
We didn't speak for a while and it didn't even matter. It's like when you
that
love,
happens.
it happens. And it's like, that's love. We picked up like nothing ever happened. And, I think that's one reason why I've been divorced 3 times. I don't think I'll ever love a man as much as I love my son.
Oh, that's so sweet, but I can imagine. Oh, I always wanted to have a son.
I mean,
That
I was so protective of him. He was my whole world. And it's like, there just wasn't any extra to give to anybody else. So,
he made your cup runneth over. I love that. Oh my god. That's so sweet. I think that's how I would have been, and I think maybe I would have gone a little insane. Like, "Oh my god, it's raining, you cannot go outside." Like I might have been like too overprotective or something.
oh, well, when he got married and they had their first child and, things happened and I wasn't needed anymore. And I didn't want to be that mother-in-law. So I stepped back. And then when I stepped back, it's like they stepped up and I stepped back. And then before I was like, oh my God, I lost my mind.
It's
It
a
was
hard dance.
It did, so I did go a little insane. I think when we weren't talking, it about killed me.
Yeah, it's a hard dance, right? It really is. And from what I'm learning all with these Proust questionnaires, like family's like the biggest, toughest for everybody. So I'm not saying that your son is tough, but any type of relationship, but when it comes to family, because they're with you for life, you know?
Oh, real love, like love can hurt sometimes.
Yes, yes.
But I
And
wouldn't get
you can write that song with all these singers you're around. Okay, so we'll go to the next question. Which talent would you most like to have that you don't have? And I have to add that you don't have because you have a lot of talents. So it needs to be something new.
I wish I could sing. I cannot sing. Annie,
That
it's terrible.
Oh my god. You know what I love the most is that everybody says that because I ask that a lot. And it's because I try to get authors like you that are illustrious, bubbly, offer the world more than a book. And I'm not saying that that's not enough, but you do so much. Like you have the Well Read magazine, you do all these things for authors. You're like effervescent people, and again, that's not
You're so
saying,
sweet. You're making my head. It's like I'm not even gonna be able to fit out the door.
yeah, but I wanted to interview you first, but it's just, I don't know. Okay, I'll move on because I'm getting a little embarrassed now. Okay. I think
No,
I
keep
kind
going.
I think I kind of have like in awe of you that
Aw.
they say. So, okay. If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what would it be?
Oh, I'd want to be a dog at Carolyn Haynes' house. Or a cat or a horse.
Or a frog. I mean,
Oh my
you're even
God.
nice you're even nice to snakes.
But I would want Carolyn to be my owner because she is like these dogs get fettuccine alfredo for dinner. I mean, chicken and dumplings. Like, are you
Oh
kidding
my
me?
gosh.
And then I say that, and it's like she's right up there, and she feeds me too. So it's kind of like I am one of her pets.
Okay. What is your most treasured possession? I don't
Oh,
think you have any. That's why I had to ask you the question.
okay. I have to show you this.
Ooh.
So it's a little, and I chipped it when I was moving. His name is Chief. One of my patients when I worked at Vanderbilt
Oh,
at the Children's Hospital,
okay.
he and her dad brought this to me because they'd come in for visits and they'd want to know what I'd written there. And then so I had stories published in a Vanderbilt. It was the Vanderbilt House Oregon, the summer reading edition, and they were out on the stands, and the customers, the client patients would read them. So they would always collect them, if I had stories in there. So they always wanted to know. And so they saw this in a shop and picked it up.
So cute.
His little tail. And so they were like, just keep it on your desk, when you're writing. I have kept it. Riley passed away. She's one of the reasons why I left that job after 16
I'm
years.
sorry.
But I've got Chief, and I stay in touch with her mom and dad, and Chief's always with me.
That's really, really special.
He rode around in the van when I wasn't sure where I was going to live when I left Tennessee, and I thought, I'm just going to travel. He was on my dashboard.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Leading the way.
Leading the way.
That, yesterday I got a keychain. So I went to put it on with my key rings, and there was this keychain that I got that says, for when there was always an angel with you when I can't be. And I got that from the brother of a hospice patient. Ooh. When the hospice patient passed away. And I'm talking, this was like 15 years ago. I'm getting choked up. And he gave me that, and he said, my sister's always going to be with you, but there's something about, she wasn't my patient, but kind of sort of was, but I wasn't like you really taking care of her, but I can see why you love that so much. And it's really, really beautiful.
Isn't it sweet?
Yeah.
So I named it Chief. And so,
is it an antique?
No, they got it at an antique shop, but it's not. I don't think it's an antique. I don't think so.
You have to be careful you don't break that guy.
I know, and I saved a little corner, but I had to hit the brakes real quick, and he slid off the dash somewhere in I don't know, we might have been in Georgia, but
he's so cute.
Riley's dad's name is Keith, and her mom's name's Lisa, and they so Keith and Riley, they gave it to me, and I was so surprised, and I had to do her echo, and I was like, I put him in my purse, to take him home. And when I got home, they sent me I sent him a message and thanked him. And Riley wanted to know what I named it. And I said, I'm going to call him Chief. That was Keith's nickname all through high school. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. See, and that gives me the heebies in a good way. Because I believe, I believe in stuff like that. That was serendipitous. Like, there was no mistake there. Right? That's wonderful. I love that. Okay. And thank you for working at a hospital where children were fighting for their lives. That's hard work. I couldn't imagine. Because like every time I get an echo or something, I'm always talking to the girl doing it. And I'm going, it must be terrible when you see something horrible. And like, you have to be like, oh, did you watch the game last night? And she's like, it is. That's the hardest part.
And it's, in pediatrics, you've got the children, the patients that a lot of them are old enough, they're paying attention. They know they know their heart function. They're looking, and you're almost like, don't look at that screen. Like,
don't look at that screen.
Whew, so it's like, you'd have to do it for the patient and the parents too. It's like and I don't have a good poker face at all. And I just wear my heart right on my sleeve. But we saw so many patients that it was the opposite. They were worried that something was wrong, and new babies that there was a murmur, and we got to take the pictures that showed it was an innocent murmur.
Oh, that's
good. It was a hole that would close, or they do have all 4 pulmonary veins or whatever.
Yeah, but you like it, but it saves lives too. Like, like my nephew, whatever it was, the aortas were inverted, but it ended up being because somebody found that out.
Great arteries. If it's he had transposition of the great arteries.
That's what it is.
Pulmonary and aorta were.
Yes, but like his life was saved by somebody who was able to be an ultrasound tech. Because they said, okay, this baby has to be flown to Johns Hopkins, but
yeah.
but that's a really tough job. But so I appreciate you doing that.
Well, thank
But I
you.
really appreciate you picking up the little frogs and sending pictures on Facebook because those are so cute.
Except the toad I couldn't say from the snake, but snakes have to eat too.
They do. They do.
I
It's a
was
circle of life. I can't sing, but I pretend I can. Okay. And you're going, I picked this for a particular reason. What do you most value in your friends?
Honesty.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. Ding ding ding. Okay. Who is your biggest hero of fiction?
Ooh, biggest hero of fiction. Flannery O'Connor, which Flannery O'Connor. It's
You know what?
That's hard too, but
I just love the name.
oh well, she wrote like at a time like she did not pull any punches. And just a great storyteller and
Well,
all
Irish people. But of course you read her because she's Southern.
well, I read her because I had to. You just hear so much, and then it's like, I was young, and I dropped out of school really young, and the only thing I regret about that is there were so many books that I didn't read that my friends that that was like recommend you had to read it, required reading.
Right.
And I hated school so much. I was like, ha ha, suckers. And then when I got older, I'm like, wait, hold up. I had a lot of catching up to do. Right. And it's,
Well, you did it. And you surpassed. I mean, like sometimes the best education is life. Going out there and having to live. All right. So question number 8. Who is your favorite author not with us, but not Flannery O'Connor? So give me a second. Because I had that one written down. Or I could let me ask a different question. What are your favorite names? Like for a boy and a girl.
Okay, I always thought if I had twins, I would name them Oliver and Olivia. And my son, who, he was like 14 or 15 when I was, and I was not going to have any more kids, but I was just teasing him like, oh, what if I were to have, and he was like, ugh. And I said, and twins? Oh, wouldn't you like a little brother, Oliver and Olivia? And he said, so Oliver could get beaten up every day? I said, it's always Olive and Ollie. And he was like, no.
Oh my gosh. But what women think is so cute, men don't. My best friend's favorite name all the time I knew her from 18 till she had her son. I don't know how old she was Jacob. She got married to Stephen Jacobs.
Oh,
so we were like, you can't name him Jacob Jacobs. And she had a son.
No, he wasn't Jacob Jacobs?
No, he was not Jacob Jacobs. I was in the room when she had him. So she let me name him. And so because I could never have children, so it came as a shock. So I just said Grant. And they were like, her and her husband were like, why Grant? I said, because God granted you the ability to have children. But so it's really his middle name, but it's the name he was going by, and I think he switched back to Steve now. But he joked with me one day, or he was telling me the truth, I don't know. But he said I had the best naming story when people sit around telling their naming stories. Because I was like, because God granted you the ability to have children. But I just couldn't believe somebody let me do that.
I got to name one of my nieces. I've got 6 nieces.
Isn't that exciting?
My older sister has 3 girls, and my brother has 3 girls. And Savannah Grace, Lily Gabriella. And then when they had their 3rd, my brother and I were real close. And I love his wife. I just love him.
That's a great lucky thing.
They asked me, they were like, do you have any names? And I was like, oh, I love Emma, and I love Emma Kate. Not Emma Catherine, not Emma Kathleen, just Emma Kate. She's Emma Kate.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
When Lillian was born with my brother Joseph, Joey, I call him. The the kid said, "You need to get," his other 2 kids, Xander and Adam, said, "You need to name her after Aunt Annie." So they named her Lillian Bridget. So she got my middle name.
Okay, so my great niece, she is Paisley Amanda, because I'm really Amanda.
Oh,
And she, I don't,
Paisley.
when she was little, and just that sweet little baby voice, and they would, when that I would come in and they were like, Paisley, who is that? And she would say, I Paisley Amanda. That's Paisley Amanda. And I thought, I'm never going to tell her my name isn't really Paisley Amanda.
Oh, that's so sweet. What is your favorite occupation? And it doesn't have to be something you have done. It could be something you've seen somebody else doing. Um, you're gonna say hammering wood or something, aren't you?
Um, oh, there's so many fun things that.
I think musician. No, I'm giving you answers.
I was married to a musician, and I've met a
Oh,
bunch of
that's right.
really good ones. And it's
That's a tough
woo,
life.
well, it's a job, so then it's not as fun as you think when they're working, and traveling.
People forget.
Yeah, so it's but we had I got to travel a lot with them, and we had a lot of fun. But
That's nice.
hmm, I would, if I would like to own a coffee shop.
Oh, that would be nice.
And own it, so I could hire people. I'd come in when I wanted to. This is
Right,
all,
right, right.
and just talk to customers. I would have a bowl, I would have a basket with yarn and a never-ending scarf with whoever wanted to crochet whatever as they were waiting for their order. And then once it got long enough, I'd tie it off and we'd put it out for whoever needed a scarf. Wouldn't that be?
Oh,
Oh,
that's so
wouldn't that be cool?
sweet.
So,
That's so
and have
sweet.
books there, take a book, leave a book.
Oh, I
It'd just be
love
a place where everybody hung out.
I like that. It's my friend Erica and I, my sorority sister, she we imagine that we have a um like that, a coffee shop, bookshop on the beach. So and it's called like beach books, like something easy like that, where
Oh,
people
and
could
people
come.
could just come in barefoot in their bathing
Yes,
suits.
yes,
Oh,
yes, yes, and, like, get a book to read on the beach, bring it back whenever, but, like, so sometimes when we're, like, on the phone and we're like, "Oh, well, yeah, I don't wanna talk about, like, my week, it's kinda sucked," we'll be like, "Well, the beach
let's talk about
bookshop."
our bookstore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about our bookshop. It's so funny, it's so funny. And, okay, I asked you that. Now, you have just moved, so I'm going to ask you this. Where would you most like to live?
Oh, I'm loving it right here so much. I'd say Alabama.
Very good. And I figured you'd say that. I think you make Alabama sound so eloquent and so I've seen a beautiful side to it because like my family lives in Munford and like their big thing is like the Honda plant. So like I think it's just the Honda plant. Like I don't think they have farms there. I don't even know because it's they all the boys work at the Honda plant. So I don't really know much about Alabama except the shore, the Mobile shores. I hear
Yeah,
those are
Gulf Shores.
Gulf Shores. I hear that's pretty. Have you been there?
Growing up, it's funny, because I lived on Amelia Island. I'd never been to the East Coast until I moved there. So I
Oh,
visited, and then long story how I just bought a house there and stayed. But I'd never been to that side. We always, growing up, our vacation as a family, and we would go. We wouldn't really go in the summer. We'd go when it didn't cost. You could get cheap room rates or whatever. But we would
yeah.
go to Gulf Shores, and
That's
it was always here. And my dad actually, when I told him about what was moving here, he almost cried because it's actually 4 hours closer to them,
oh,
because going to the east, go over to Amelia Island, it was like, whatever.
but
I mean,
that's so nice and beautiful that he like almost cried and stuff.
Oh, and he
That's
was
so
like, because you know we used to come down this way when I was little, so it's like he was real happy, and I'm happy.
that's
And
that's
I
really,
mean,
and I know you love it there with Caroline. You
well, we
know,
just had lunch the other day with a former poet laureate.
supportive of one another. You know, I have to say, I,
It's like, are we
I don't
whispering?
find it this. Pardon me.
Are we whispering?
We should whisper this. Yeah, I don't think it's the same here on Long Island. Like it's. I don't like in all the years I have reviewed books. It was so hard for me to get a book from anyone on Long Island. And it's because like, they're very big authors. That could be why, but I mean, I've interviewed plenty of big authors. I have reviewed plenty of big authors, but Long Island authors are, I don't know, they're, I guess because they have such a huge influx of people asking, so it's harder maybe for us. I don't know.
What's the difference between? I'm not. This is going to make some people mad, and you know, Southern people, the South. I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't good. You know, there's a
And
lot
then
of
there's
things
things that
that they
are,
have to
yeah.
work on. A lot, you know. But see, you can't put a blanket on the whole thing. So when people want to talk about, you know, South being so racist and homophobic, not everybody.
Right.
That's not everybody. You just got to find the right, smart, open-minded people. But it's a difference in the Southern people because some of the authors I've met are big, like big.
I
Oh, it's
know,
just
like
like,
Pat Conroy, hello. He treated everyone like so, like Bren with the Mama Cow book.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, you know,
and
I
the
love her story
Montgomery.
with Pat Conroy. You know, I've always loved Pat Conroy, and um he what he was this wonderful author, but then I found out how much he did for other people that wanted to be authors. So
Mm-hmm.
then when I became had to leave Elle magazine and start my own thing, I said, well, I'm going to interview authors so I can help authors, because I feel if you know them, like what we're doing here, when you know them, they stick in your head, you write them down, and then you end up reading all of their books, not just one and forgetting about them, you know, because you're knowing them more. It is a Southern thing, I think.
Oh, I do. I think so.
Yeah, I agree with that whole. Yes, you're right. I agree with that, and I'm not slamming anyone around me. It's just the way everyone's
Right.
it's just the way everyone's brought up.
Well, and it's
Different environments.
just different, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
everything's
sure there are
different.
a lot of really supportive things there, but it's just they're just harder to find.
They're harder to find. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, at the South, it's like, come on,
I
everybody,
know. I mean,
bring me
every
along.
time I meet someone from down south, they're like, "When you gonna come visit? You just need to come visit." Sorry, that's a really bad Southern accent. I can do good Southern accents. So I went to college in North Carolina, so I better be able to do Southern accents. But I really appreciate this time. I know how busy you are now that you're in a barn dominium that's still being built. We're so excited for you. Is it still being built?
No, it's finished. I mean,
Okay,
this
because
is
I was
it.
gonna say I didn't know if it was more going on outside. I
No,
mean, it's gorgeous.
it was a pole barn that had a stall. Carolyn's one of her horses, Kogar, that she loved, that she's got a fantastic she got his sperm from a horse in Ireland and had it flown over. Annie, we got to get her to tell you the story. You're going to die.
Oh my
She
god.
kept waiting for it because, you know, once she got it, she had to get it.
Oh
Get it.
yeah, I used to breed horses, help breed
So,
horses.
she had a bunch of friends had come over because she was waiting. And it's like that they were saying that it wasn't here. So finally she gets the thing that it had come. The package had flown in. So she calls the airline and she was like, you know, do you have a package for Carolyn? And they were telling her they didn't have it. So she's panicking because she's got, you know, she only has a certain amount of time, whatever. Finally she gets hold of somebody. They're like, no, it's here. She gets all the girls in the van and they're flying like 90 miles an hour to get it. They get it. Their sperm. Get in the van. They're all flying back 90 miles an hour because they got to get it to what they need to do, and they get stopped by a police officer.
I knew you were going to say that. But
said,
we have this Irish sperm thoroughbred.
They were like, "You've got, did you know you're speeding?" And she said, "Yes, I do. We've got sperm and we've got to get it." And he was like, "No, no more question." Like, he didn't ask who's
Well,
what,
see, that's
where,
another one, because there's like certain things you can say that nobody wants to keep talking about. I'm adding that to the list.
Like, we have
I got sperm right here.
and what do you got to get? And he was just like, "Okay, all right, go. Don't let me go." But can you imagine seeing a van full of crazy women?
That's a great story, though.
She's got so many. But so this was a pole barn. So see that post right there, like that's one of the posts, and the roof. So those are the rafters, and so the only thing new is the walls, with interior and exterior. You've seen pictures of the little red siding where it looks like a
yes, it's so pretty.
So we call it the barn door for weirdos, and then it's got a big closet, a utility room, and a bathroom. I just don't have my furniture yet because I'm waiting for my house to sell in Florida.
Well, we wish you luck with that. I mean, there's so much space in there. I love it. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're very lucky to have found Caroline.
There's my bedroom.
See, now we can all say we have visited your room. So watch out what you show people. At least your bed is made. That's
nice. I have to make it up now because it's out in the dang
It's right in the middle. But that's nice. I lived in a loft on the water here when I first met Tom, and you had to climb a ladder to get to the little tiny loft. So you had to like crawl into the bed and plop, but it was like living the life because it's different. And there's a lot to be said for being different than cookie cutter, There's a lot to be said for the difference. So anyway, I could talk with you forever, and you know that. It's been such a pleasure. I'm so proud of you. But may I ask, what do you have coming up? Do you have any writing coming up?
Oh, so I'm Carolyn Haynes and I. Part of the reason, but not really, that I'm out here is because we're collaborating on a psychological thriller, which I'm really excited about.
Which is really cool, yeah.
And then while we're kind of waiting to see what's going on with that, because there's so much waiting. That's why I love self-publishing, because I don't have to wait on anything,
Right.
And it's like, I just want my stories read. It drives me nuts. But I'm doing this, trying to do it in a professional, who knows what's going to happen. I don't know. But I pulled out my novel that's in its first draft that I haven't had any time to work on. And Carolyn's reading the first 50 pages now to kind of give me some advice and, help me find out where and who, and start that whole, getting rejected process that everybody has to go through.
Oh, I think it's fabulous. I think it's fabulous. I only sent one essay off. I mean, we knew I was going to be publishing with Echo. That was a given. But I sent one essay off to New York Times Love Notes, and they rejected me in the nicest way, that it made it all worth it. But anyway, they're telling you it's time to go. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we got to see your dogs. I didn't get to see Pearl, though.
Hey, Pearl.
Hi, Pearl. Little troublemaker.
She's
so cute.
She's rotten.
She's so cute.
Is she
part Jack Russell?
Oh, she's a Jack Russell.
Oh, she is. Okay. She's so cute.
Well, I got her from a rescue. She's Jack Russell. She's mostly.
Yeah, it's like, who knows, right?
She's most, right. She looks like a sock puppet. Anytime you put her in front of a camera.
Like straight on?
Straight on. Does she not look like those ears? It's like, and those eyes get big. Does she look like a sock puppet? That's what I said.
Yes.
She does not look like this when she's not in front of the camera.
Oh, she's so cute. I'll have to take some screenshots and send them to you. She's really, really cute.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Annie, for doing this. And, I didn't really talk about the magazine much. I loved what you said about the to be read. Those are the ads. Those are the ads. So
that's readers, what it is.
Yeah, readers don't even, they're not looking at it like, another ad, they're
It's
looking at it
not.
as books to put on your to be read list. I get messages from readers all the time. They save that part for their, cup of coffee. They'll go through, like, when we have lots of books, sometimes we do have quite a few. Sometimes, just
Well, they're like
depends on,
it's like 200 pages.
and so they'll save that for special, it might take them a couple of times to go through it. They love reading all about the books and the authors. And hello, I just thought that was brilliant.
And I don't
Even
know
if I
how
am
you
tooting my
do
own
it.
horn.
Sorry?
I said, even if I am tooting my own horn, I think that
No, you're supposed
advertising the books and the to be read it's readers love it.
but I say you're supposed to do that, but um I love that it's called Well Read Magazine. That's such a great name because there's so many things you can do with that, like with the Well Done awards and stuff, things that you do.
Which I love. I mean,
I love that too.
if you would have, dropping out, and when I say I dropped out of high school, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed, but there's truth. When I dropped out of school, I got a lot of flack from people, and people were like, whatever, and I'm
Like
like,
you're never gonna do anything.
and I
You're
think,
gonna be barefoot and pregnant.
oh well, a guy that I dated after my son was in college, said to me, "Well, that's nice, doll, that you want to write, but who would publish you? You've never even graduated high school." And so I think. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. When he said it, it kind of made me think, oh, yeah, I need this, and I need some initials by my name. And I need, you know what? A really good friend of mine was an English professor, and he taught creative writing. He's the one who submitted my first story to a competition, and it won. And he had me come to his college classroom and speak. And I said to him, I said, okay, I think I would love to take some of your classes. And he spun around and he said, Mandy, no, you have what we are trying to teach students. There's no reason for you to take these courses. If you take a class from somebody else, it could hurt you. They could try to do not change what you're doing. You have what people are, and that just made me like, wow, like, you're right.
But that's really, really cool.
But a lot of people do judge you by that, and it's a fact. They do.
It is. You're right.
Their loss, because there are so many people that they're going to miss out on.
Well, I didn't, because you told me, and it was just like, okay, cool.
Well, I'm just saying, and I think that's why I'm so proud of this magazine. That I'm helping writers who haven't been published before publish their stories, poems, and
then they get to say they're in there.
Well, and then there are some authors who have been published a lot. They're so proud to be published in my magazine. It just makes me heart. Like, and that these authors, that new authors with authors have been published a lot, they're in there side by side. And I'm like, that community of, that's what it is.
Well, Mandy, you just hit the nail on the head, because like, I had a poem published, whatever. My book reviews, that's writing myself. Okay, whatever, but that's no big deal. But when I did my first interview for your magazine, and like I flipped the page and you were advertising my book that was coming out, I was like, because like it was the first time it was being advertised. I didn't know you were doing that. It like freaked me out. I was like, now I'm an author. Like, this is like, it's out there, but yeah, I really appreciated when you did that. But I mean, that's probably what you do for a lot of people, and you don't even realize, that are going, oh my God, because you're alongside other outstanding authors. And the thing of it is too, like people always say, I treated every author like they were a bestseller, and you do that too.
Well, it's because just like, people should not, and and I get a lot of flack because full page, they're not little, I make the ads, I do full page, they're easy to read, readers want that. That was what I was told in the beginning, and I could make some really sharp, cool looking ads.
Oh, you are good, yes.
But you can't read, the readers can't read the print, the font. They are, that's fun. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What was I? Oh, that they're too cheap, and that people have the misconceived notion that, or the preconceived notion that cheap means cheap. But there's a reason why I'm only charging $50 an ad.
You want everyone to have access to it.
I want everyone to have access, and not just people who can't afford it to do, even if that $50 is like a lot for them, but others that are advertising and bigger and spending all this money. Well, they don't have to choose one or the other. They can advertise in well-read too. And it's I'm not buying into that crap. I'm not. They're staying $50. I didn't do the magazine to make money anyway. I do need to cover the cost of it because
right, yeah, because it costs a lot.
Look,
I did a magazine
a little bit because it's it does take a lot of time. But even then, I'm still not. What my hope is to make enough money from to have sponsorships for authors to go to different writer retreats. I would love for Well Read to be able to send some writers to different events.
I know, and I'd be applying for all of them. I think that's a really wonderful thing because there's so many writers that want to go on them, and you can't. You can't ever afford it. There's just no way. And it's not even like you want to go on all of them. There's just certain ones you want to go. But everything's very expensive for some people. So I think that's a wonderful gift. But there was something you said. Well-read magazine authors. Oh, I can't remember. But it's something about what you do. Oh, that's what it was. Your $50. You said to me, Annie, listen to me. All you need to do. I love when you do that. Listen to me. All you need to do is go on the site and answer the questions. And I was like, okay. So I'm answering the questions, and I'm not giving you a graphic. I'm not giving you, because you do this at other journals or magazines, and they're like, they need everything that they're then just going to plop on the paper. And you take the information. So then when I first saw my ad, not just the ad in the magazine, when I first saw the ad floating around on 500 books.
See, I do that. I mean, I've made these graphics. Why not use them? So
it's just
so much more than a one-page ad. Yeah.
But you also know that you don't have to see the well-read tab or the well-read sticker at the bottom. You know it's yours. Aww. Even though they're all different, you know it's yours because your art is your graphics are very distinctive and genius. I love it. So I really, that's why when this first came out, I was like, we have to interview you first because you have the books. You created this wonderful magazine, and is going to be a literary journal next week.
Yep, it's a literary journal. It is. I actually became. It is part of the CLMP, the community of.
That's right. That's right.
So I
knew it was coming up. I didn't know if you announced it. Do you like how I just said that? It's like next week. I didn't mean to say that yet because
that person can just edit this.
Yeah, that Mandy girl who does everything. And I don't know how you get it all done.
Well, I have to tell you, this is really exciting. So someone sent a link of the magazine to their agent just to show them. And then they were like, oh, I just wanted, and it was a surprise. And it just made my head the agent was very impressed. And it's an agent who doesn't really give a lot of compliment. Very impressive. And I thought,
the angels are singing. Oh my God.
Well, and it's maybe this agent will be looking at these authors and these stories that are being, published from these new authors. Maybe they'll be like my name.
That's really, really good. That's really nice.
that's what I want it to be like.
I
You
completely understand.
and you
I
don't,
understand.
you should never take more than you give. And people are always like, you give too much. And it's like, well, I'm it's a circle because it all works together, So
You are. You know what you're like? You're like the medicine woman. You know who like moved into the town and was like, "Oh, you can't afford the stitches. Can I have a chicken?" Like, like you just bartered the care. You're bartering the care of everybody's books. So for something, because like I'm not saying like you do that with everybody or necessarily doing that, but and not for chickens, but I'm just saying like
except I do love chickens, but I can't.
you're very good at like I've said to you before, I want to do something, but I can't afford it right now. And you're like, well, can you do this for me? You know,
I mean,
and I think that that's just such a wonderful way to be because then you don't make the person feel bad.
oh no, and I mean, and it works out because it's like it's great. Just like some authors are, they're like, you know, what my name is so and so, and I've just written this book. Would you interview me for your magazine? Oh, you don't know. I mean, I wish I could do every single one that does it because I love that they're actually, I mean, how hard you're putting yourself out like that. Well,
Yes,
okay, I just don't have time to do that. Even
right.
when I want some of them, like, so here's the deal. I tell everybody, and I hope everybody's listening to this.
Okay.
Because readers do love the authors interviewing authors. I won't have time to do them, but you find an author that you admire, that you look up to, that interview each other. Interview each other. I only ask that one or both of you, even if it's just that you do take out a $50 ad to get those free pages because I will publish that interview for free and
Well,
promote your book.
and
Um,
people love that.
and it's like, but just, put a little in the kitty, like in the little tip jar, take out an ad because you're not just giving me $50.
Right,
I'm going
it's
to promote
going
the
towards
heck out of
something.
your book and you're getting a full page ad for it. And you'll
Well,
also, I'll publish your interview and promote that, so
I mean that's a good idea. I'm gonna because I'm everybody. I hope you hear this. These magazines are expensive to put together. You know, I mean that there was a lot of time, money, because then you have to belong to this to make the graphics. You have to belong to this to do this,
and
and
there's
then it's
a
like
lot of free things out there, but the free versions
don't
don't work
work.
as well.
Right,
And
right,
so
right.
I pay, I have the business plan, all this like Issue. I use Issue because it's one of the biggest online
I was the
magazines.
same. Yeah.
And so it's like that's $500 almost a year, and then the website's $300 a year just to have the business website. You know, blah blah blah, and the
I
software
love doing the
the pages.
magazine, Mandy. I miss it. That I mean, I love that so doing that so much.
Well, that's
You
why
know,
when you were saying how you miss it so much, that's why I thought Annie's Antics would be fun. And when we changed it to Annie Asks, because you're feeling better and you're starting to do your Annie's Antics back at the Right Review. And so I was like, all
yeah.
right, how about then? That's because that's yours. You had Annie's, that was your name
Thank
for your.
you.
So
That
I'm
was
like, you
very.
take that back. Like that's, but we'll do
But I'm
Annie's.
glad you didn't dump me. You know, because
Oh, well,
but that yeah, you're such a kind-hearted soul, and I hope the
I
whole
am
world
until
knows
I'm not.
that. Yeah, but you know what though? Those people deserve it when you're not. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Well, no, I believe that when they're such a nice person, because like me, I liken myself to being a nice person. But if you make me mad, the first thing I'm gonna do is tell you you're making me mad. I don't I don't pretend you're not. Um, it doesn't mean I go tell the whole world though.
Well, one of my coworkers at Vanderbilt, and I just loved him, and I love him. They actually, his family was the foster family for my turtle when I left Vanderbilt in Tennessee and didn't know where I was going to go, and I couldn't take a 40-gallon tank with my 3 dogs in a van and live. So they fostered Albert, but we were butting heads at work, and we had this big meeting. It was the big bosses were in there, and he said something. I turned around and I said, "I'm going to punch you in the fucking throat." And he was like, whoa. And the big bosses were like, okay, Mandy, let's all take a break. And I was like, I'm not really going to punch him in the throat. But he knows I'm not.
I know.
And then we
People
went out and
get
had a
so
beer. We went out and had a beer,
exactly.
went to Sportsman's afterwards. We're okay. That's why I say I'm really sweet. And people are always surprised to realize that I can lose my dang sometimes. Shoot.
But I mean, I think that's okay. I mean, I think the nice people would go nuts if they weren't able to do that.
You have to. And just like that, I was never punch him in the throat. I might punch him in the nose. I wouldn't punch him in the throat. I wouldn't
I
want
know.
to do that. I loved him and his
We don't
wife.
want you on
It's like,
snaps.
I might have just, and we had so much fun, laughing about it. And he said, I was a little scared for a second.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it.
But,
All right. Well, I'm so proud of your magazine, and I'm so proud of and that's an odd thing to say because like I just have one little book out, but I'm proud of all you're doing for everybody else.
thank you.
It's really impressive. And that's why I thought you have to be interviewed so we can get everyone that's reading your magazine. If this many people are reading, they don't all know you. So let's let them get to know you better. So that's why I thought I have to interview Mandy. And I had to have you back on the show since the beginning of time. So which to
That was
me,
a long time ago.
I know. And it was right before I became disabled. So, yeah. But so this has been a wonderful treat to see you and speak with you. So please send my love to Carolyn,
Okay, I
and
will.
and all of your fans are clapping right now, and they're saying how awesome you're doing, and I can't wait to see your next cover. You have the best covers.
Oh, thanks. I love doing covers.
Oh, I could go on and on and on and on, but you've always been such a good friend to me, and I really appreciate it. And the best part is, even when friendships come apart, you can call up and say, "So we good now?" and everything's great. And I just think that that's what makes you really special.
Aw.
You're a
Well,
really good person.
well, sometimes too, you just have to, not take things so personal. You have to just, you never know what somebody else is going through. People just need to be a little more patient. But then when, if you feel something and it's like, I need to step away, then you just need to step away. And you don't have to explain or give you just take care of yourself, Annie. And
You're very sweet. But I know I'm very sensitive, especially now.
and what is it that I always tell you? You need to
Fuck,
say, I don't give a fuck.
fuck. I
I
don't give a
don't give a
fuck.
fuck.
I
I
mean,
don't give a fuck. You got to start saying that a little bit more.
That's why when I saw those shot glasses and those glasses, I thought of you because she can make him say anything.
I
So,
love
like,
it.
maybe for Christmas, I'll get us a set that say that. I don't give a fuck.
And it's like, and nobody should about certain things. Move on. Call each
That's
other in
true.
a few days and say, are we good now?
I know exactly. And that's how. And the word you used earlier is what it is. It's about love. Did you really? If you said you love somebody, did you really? Because then you forgive and you move on. It doesn't mean you've forgotten necessarily. I mean, the certain things are just so dumb. Of course, you forget. You've even forgot why you're not talking. You're going, what the heck is going on? But sometimes it's just so crazy. But the friendship or the family is worth so much more than what occurred.
Yeah. And then there are
I always
sometimes, though, it is important to just cut off things,
absolutely, I
and
agree
again,
wholeheartedly.
you don't have to explain or you don't owe anybody any explanation, and you don't have to make excuses for anybody else. So you sometimes you just have to do what's right.
I love when
And
you
it
tell
does
me that.
mean it does mean closing that door.
Close that door. Close that door. You're very good at giving me advice. I appreciate it. That's why it's like, oh, she lives on a farm now. She's busy, you know, which I totally get. So, all right. Well, you get back to farming and writing and taking care of those animals of yours, and we will be looking out for the next well-read magazine.
That's
And
look at him looking.
that's because they know it's time. My
He's like,
folks always know it's time for me to get, because I tell them I'm going on TV.
he said, Mama, you're talking Annie's ears off. Let her go. I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you too. All right. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
Talk to you
Bye.
later.
Okay. Bye.